Today on the show, we're at an amazing place. You are going to love this episode. If you've ever wondered about the Holy of Holies and where that might be, well, today we're going to show you. Today on the show, we are in a very cool place. We're at ancient Shiloh, and we're going to meet up again with my good friend Isaac Karasenti, who has been our guide through some of these amazing sites. And this place, you're going to learn so much about Israel's history, about some of the beginning history of the nation of Israel today when you listen to Isaac share. But I want to just remind us of the very first reference of the word Shiloh, or the Hebrew word Shiloh, in the scripture. And so we're going to turn and look at that together. It's found in Genesis chapter 49. The scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until he to whom it belongs shall come, and the obedience of the nations shall be his. Now you're wondering, I didn't say the word Shiloh. Well, the Hebrew word Shiloh is where it says, until he to whom it belongs shall come. He to whom it belongs is Shiloh, or a reference to the Messiah. I want you to think about that as we talk about how God's presence is resident in this place today, where the Holy Ark of the Covenant rested, where the tent of meeting was. It's just so amazing, the things that we're going to learn and hear about. And as you're listening to Isaac talk, as you're thinking about the presence of God resting here in ancient Shiloh, I want you to think about the Messiah, about Yeshua and Jesus, who he is, who he was. And I know that that's going to totally change your perspective about everything that you hear today. Don't go away. We'll be back after this.
Coming up, Jeff joins Isaac Karasenti at the ancient ruins of Shiloh. Jerusalem, the holy city, is the focus of much of the world's attention. And Psalm 122 tells us to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Yet do we really know why, or even how? Why does God want us to specifically pray for the peace of this ancient city? And how do you pray for a city that for most of us seems so foreign and so far away? Praying for the Peace of Jerusalem, the new book by Jeff Feuders, now reveals God's purpose for the holy city and all of Israel, and why he wants every believer to pray for his holy land. Now more than ever, the people of Israel need our prayers and support. And when you order your copy of the book Praying for the Peace of Jerusalem with a gift of just $10 or more plus shipping and handling, you are also helping these precious people in a very real way. Call the number on your screen now, or go online to firstcenturyfoundations.com and order Praying for the Peace of Jerusalem, and begin to pray for Israel with understanding and purpose.
Hey, welcome to today's show. I am so excited about today. I'm almost a little bit giddy. As a matter of fact, you were just telling us a little bit of the background about what we're about to see here today. And I thought that I actually got chills for a moment. And then I realized it's just so cold up here in the mountains of Samaria that I'm half frozen. But anyway, look at you. You're in your shirt sleeves.
Nice, sunny and warm.
You're not cold at all.
A nice, refreshing breeze. At least we're not sweating today.
Wow. Well, we are at an amazing place. We are at ancient Shiloh, or Shiloh, as they say in Hebrew. And so much history here. Isaac,
Yes,
give us
sir.
just a little bit of an overview about what we're going to see today, and then we'll go and begin to see some of that exciting stuff.
Excellent. So welcome to ancient biblical Shiloh.
Thank you.
Now we are going to see the remains of the city that was built on top of this hill. Much more important, further to the north, we are going to see the place where for 369 years stood the original Holy Ark of the Covenant,
Wow.
with the original 10 Commandments, with the original copy of the Torah that God gave to Moses inside. Amazing.
This is the site where the tabernacle stood.
For 369 years.
Wow. Wow.
Indeed, wow.
Amazing.
Yes.
Well, shall we begin to go and explore?
Be my guest. Please follow me this way.
I will follow you.
Thank you very much.
Now, Isaac, you've brought us into a place here where we're a little bit sheltered. Thank you for getting me out of the wind. I am freezing, but this is an amazing place. I want you to remind us a little bit about all of the biblical history that surrounds this place. I mean, we talked about the tabernacle, the place where the Holy Ark stood, but there is so much more that happened here that is significant to the nation of Israel. Just remind us a little bit of an overview today.
My pleasure, Jeff, my dear friend. Now, first of all, we know that Shiloh was established in the 17th century BC. We are talking about a city which is 3,800 years old.
3,800 years old.
Not less.
We don't have anything like that in Canada. In North America, I don't think. It's amazing when I come here. I love the ancientness of this place.
You know, we say only if these stones could speak. What
Yeah.
amazing stories they would
could
tell us.
Yeah, amen.
Now, the first reference to Shiloh in the Bible is Genesis 49. Over there, we find a sentence that says, until Shiloh comes. So, Shiloh, one of the names of the Messiah. Later on, the Bible tells us that 3,200 years ago, when Joshua and the Israelites returned back home to the Promised Land, one of the cities that they did not succeed to capture was Jerusalem. Therefore, they declared this city Shiloh as their capital city. Therefore, here in Shiloh, Joshua and the Israelites built the sanctuary, the tent of the meeting. And this is where they put the Holy Ark of the Covenant.
So the Israelites make their way through the wilderness. They come into the land of Canaan, the promised land of milk and honey. And here is where they settle in order to place the tabernacle and begin as a nation.
For 369 years, this city functioned as the capital city.
Amazing.
For 369 years, every year, 3 times, during the time of the 3 high holidays, Tabernacles, Passover, Pentecost, all of the Israelites used to come to worship God here in Shiloh.
The entire nation.
The entire nation. Now, another important story. The Bible tells us that Shiloh, at that time, was given into the hands of Ephraim. So we are in the territory of Ephraim. And later on, if we continue to Joshua 18, Joshua 18 tells us that in the very beginning, only 5 out of the 12 tribes got their territories. Other 7 yet no territories.
Okay.
So all of the Israelites gathered in Shiloh, and Joshua sent 3 representatives from every tribe, those 7 tribes who yet had no territory, to make a survey of the land and to write a description of it according to their inheritance. Which means from here, Joshua sent them to make the first map of Israel. Then they came back here,
Incredible.
and the Bible tells us that here in Shiloh, they casted the lots and divided the land to 7 portions. So eventually all the 12 tribes of Israel got their territory in the Promised Land.
And this is where it happened.
And this is where it happened. Now, most important thing, the calling of God to Samuel
Right.
was right here in Shiloh. This is where God called
Yeah.
Samuel.
So much
This
of the
is
history is right
where
here.
Samuel started his ministry.
Yeah.
This is where Samuel started to prophesy in this city, where we are standing right now.
Amazing.
Indeed,
Amazing.
indeed.
And then we go forward in the story. Israel had no king. They start to complain about the fact that all the other countries have kings. Why can't we have a king? Right?
Yes.
And what does God say? He says to them, "Well, okay, if that's what you want, then I guess
That's what
you
we'll
get a
get.
king."
Yes.
And here in
Samuel,
Shiloh,
yes,
Samuel the prophet
found Saul and anointed Saul to be the first king of Israel. because this is what the people of Israel wanted.
Wow.
They wanted a king.
So we've got Joshua and the Israelites settling here. We've got the call of Samuel into the office of the prophet. Samuel anoints the first king of Israel right here in this place. And then what becomes of Shiloh after that?
The bitter end. The Bible tells us that the Philistines gathered their forces against the Israelites in a place called Afek Even Haezer, 20 miles west from here. The Bible tells us that at that time, Israelites were defeated. The Philistines killed 4,000 Israelite warriors. Israelites asked themselves, why did we lose the war? And then they came to the conclusion, we lost because we didn't have the Holy Ark of the Covenant with us. So they sent men to Shiloh to take the Holy Ark from here and to send it to their camps. High priest of Israel in those days was Eli. Yes. 98 years old, he was blind. And his two wicked, mean sons, Hophni and Pinchas, they were the ones who carried the Holy Ark from the sanctuary in Shiloh to the camp of the Israelites. And when the Israelites saw the Holy Ark approaching, they started to rejoice.
Yes.
When the Philistines understood what made Israel to be so happy, they started to worry. But the Bible tells us that the next day the war began. The Philistines defeated the Israelites. They killed 30,000 Israelite warriors, including the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Pinchas. And the most tragic thing that happened, that the Philistines captured the Holy Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Now Eli was sitting on a chair along the side of the road, waiting to hear the news. And a man ran from the battlefield into the city of Shiloh. He didn't see Eli. He ran into the city and reported about the bad news. Everybody started to cry out. Eli asked, what is the meaning of this cry? The man came to him and said, we lost the war. Your two sons got killed. Holy Ark of the Covenant was captured by the Philistines. When Eli heard about the Holy Ark, it was too much.
Yeah.
The Bible tells us how
Incredible.
he fell backward from his chair on his neck. His neck was broken and he was killed. And based on archaeological excavations, we learn that shortly after that, Philistines came to Shiloh, occupied this city and destroyed this city by fire. So this was the bitter end of Shiloh.
And it was never inhabited again after that.
Never ever. After that, until 1978, when Israelis settled up there and established the new village called Shiloh.
Amazing.
So we have a new Shiloh, 1978, named after ancient Shiloh, where we are right now.
Incredible.
Isn't this amazing?
Incredible. Well, I want to hear a little bit more about what happens to the ark after that, but maybe we'll cover that just a little bit later. And
Excellent.
I don't know. Shall we carry on?
Let's carry on.
Okay,
of course.
let's go see what
continue.
else
We
we can
have
find.
much more to see. Please.
Up next, Jeff and Isaac explore the ruins of the ancient tabernacle in Shiloh. First Century Foundations is committed to helping those in need in the land of Israel. And this is possible because of people like you. Your donations are helping the Jerusalem Institute of Justice, who provide for some of the most vulnerable in the land. One such group are the aging Holocaust survivors, spending time through activities and caring for their needs for food and medication. The Jerusalem Institute of Justice and First Century Foundations are making a real difference in the lives of people who have experienced so much.
People like us who lost everything and live with the pain, to have people that help us a little bit, we're very grateful.
Call or write today and receive the free Israel Prayer Watch to keep up to date with all that is happening with these ministries in Israel, and become a partner for just $30 a month or more. Your gifts make a difference. Call today.
Now, Isaac, we've walked through the ruins of the city and we're coming out into the open area here. Tell me about the significance of where we are.
Well, over here, something very important that I want to show you. What we see here, we can see part of the original city wall.
Okay.
So the city covered all of the hill where we were,
Right.
all the way until here. This is the city wall, which means the area which is north of the wall over there is considered as outside the city.
So this is the end, this is the corner.
This is the corner,
Of the
yes,
walls.
of the walls.
Okay.
Now, over there soon, we're going to see the sanctuary, where stood the original Holy Ark of the Covenant. One point we have to make clear and understood. The sanctuary is outside the city.
Yes.
Now,
Per God's instruction,
of course.
Yes.
Of course.
outside of the camp.
Outside of the camp.
Yeah.
Now, let's continue
Okay.
down here.
Yes.
There is another something very exciting that I want you to see. Now, over here, we can see this path.
Right.
This is the ancient original path that back in those days led from the city to the sanctuary, the one and only.
So the path that we're walking on right now
Right now,
was the path that went to the
This-
tabernacle where the ark rested.
exactly. And earlier we talked about Eli.
Yes.
He was sitting on a chair along the side of the road,
Right.
waiting eagerly to hear the news.
Okay.
So he was sitting somewhere along this path.
When he fell.
And then the guy came,
Oh my goodness.
announced the bad news in the city, came to
Yes.
him, and when he fell and broke his neck and got killed, it was somewhere along this path. The one and the only path that connected the city with the place where stood the Holy Ark.
Amazing. So we're going to go on our way back down
Please.
here to the. Okay, let's go.
Let's go and let's see the sanctuary.
All right. Wow. So, Isaac, what are we seeing here? Because you know the tent of meeting was a temporary structure,
Yes.
but now this stood here for 369 years. So tell me what we're looking at.
Now, welcome to the sanctuary that was built by Joshua and the Israelites 3,200 years ago. This is it. Now, the whole complex was built on this terrace. Now, first of all, we see something very interesting. The whole orientation of this sanctuary is to the west. You enter from the east, but the moment that you walked in, all the time you face west. Why is that? Because
think I
these
know why.
pagans, we talked about them yesterday, they worship the sun. Sunrise is from the east.
Right.
They built their temples facing to the east. Judaism said, no way, we are going to turn our back on paganism.
Okay.
This is why here the whole orientation is to the west.
This has been a recurring theme.
Exactly, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, the sanctuary is divided into two sections, eastern part and western part.
Right.
And what you see here, over here, you can see the courtyard that was built in front of the tent of meeting. Now, you see these stones. This was discovered recently,
Right
last
here.
year.
Yes.
Last summer of 2018, over here we can see the foundations of the altar. This is where stood the altar. So for 369 years, every year, 3 times, all of the Israelites gathered here, and on this altar they used to bring their burnt offerings. This is where they used to sacrifice their animals.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
I can hardly believe that. So
Amazing.
The blood burnt offering sacrifice was made right here.
Right here. Now, further to the west, you see that very thick wall. This is the separation between the courtyard to the tent of the meeting itself.
Okay.
Soon, we are going over there and to see it. Remember that Israel was not allowed to go inside.
They could only come this
They
far.
could come only as far to here.
Right.
And remember, inside, only the priest and high priest were allowed to go. However, we know that in this wall over there was a doorway. Through that doorway, the rest of Israel could look inside,
Okay.
and then they could see what was going on inside the holy. But they were not allowed physically to go into the holy. Now let's go over there to see the western part of this complex.
Let's go over there and see that.
Please.
Okay. I'll follow you.
Thank you.
Watch your step. Okay, so that was amazing. Now we've moved from the outer court area I know where we're standing, but you're going to tell us. You're going to explain exactly what we're seeing here.
So, from here, further to the west,
Right.
stood the tent of the meeting. What is the tent of the meeting? The Bible tells us that the tent of the meeting, we are talking about a wooden tabernacle that was covered with a big tent.
Right.
Remember that the tent of the meeting started here, where we see this wall, and from here it went all the way to the west.
Okay.
Now, one of the things which proves the theory that this is the right place, that's the measurements. Remember that the Bible
Okay.
gives us the measurements
Yes.
of the sanctuary, the measurements of the tent of the meeting.
Right.
And it says that tent of meeting was 50 amma wide. What is amma? Amma is the distance between top of your finger to the bottom of your elbow.
Of
This
my
is one
finger
amma
or yours?
of an average person.
Oh, an average person.
Average person.
Okay. All right.
Between you and me. Now, you see this corner?
Well, right.
This is one of the corners.
Okay.
From here to the other end, we have exactly 50 ammas, sharp. The Bible says
Amazing.
that the length of the sanctuary was 225 ammas. From here all the way to the end of that wall, 225 ammas. So that's the exact measurements according to the Bible.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Let's go over there.
Oh my goodness. Wow, Isaac, this is absolutely unbelievable. The measurements being so exact, I mean, people, when you read the Bible and you wonder if those things are true, just you have to come and stand on a place like this and understand how incredibly accurate that is.
The Bible comes alive.
The Bible does really come alive. So we've come through now this holy place,
yes,
and behind us,
stood the Holy of Holies.
the Holy of Holies.
Now, between Holy to the Holy of Holies was the curtain.
Right.
Remember,
Veil.
in the Holy of Holies, for 369 years, stood the original Holy Ark of the Covenant.
Yes.
For 369 years, inside the Holy Ark that stood over there,
Right over there.
right over there, stood the original 10 Commandments and the original copy of the Torah that God gave Moses on top of Mount Sinai. Can you believe this?
I can, but it's still blowing my mind.
And you know what will blow our mind even more? That we are standing literally in the closest point to where stood the Holy Ark. We cannot go any closer than where we are standing right now.
Wow.
Not many people in the world have the privilege
No.
to be where we are right now.
Isaac, thank you so much for
My
bringing
pleasure.
us here.
My pleasure.
And I guarantee this will not be the last time that I come here. I've already got lots of ideas about bringing some of you with us as we come and tour here in the land of Israel. We want to put a tour together of some of these sites that we've been seeing this week. But it is just so incredible. So absolutely, I said it already, but it's mind-blowing to be able to stand here and think about the text, about the scriptural text, and how the measurements and everything are so exact, and then to come here and physically see that has been borne out. It's been proven through archaeological discovery. And standing here this close to what was at that time the Holy of Holies is really, really an amazing and a special privilege. So thanks for bringing us here.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being with us on the show today.
My pleasure.
And you don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of First Century Foundations with Jeff Feuders. This season is packed with amazing visits with people and places rarely shown on television. And now, for the first time, First Century Foundations is releasing extended cuts from the series with previously unseen footage. In this first DVD of extended cuts, you can now see Jeff's entire visit with Dr. Garth Gilmore to the ancient site of Tel Hazor. This incredible site sheds new light on the conquests of the Israelites as they entered the Promised Land under Joshua. You will also see the full edit of Jeff and desert tour guide Arthur Dumash, as they explore the Negev desert and the abundant plant life that helps to further illustrate the biblical account of the Israelites and just how amazing God is. Call or write today to order your copy of this first Extended Cuts DVD for a gift of $20 or more plus shipping and handling. And be sure to keep watching First Century Foundations.
Wow, what an amazing day at the site in Shiloh. The Hebrew word is Shiloh. We say Shiloh in English. And off the top of the show, I talked to you about where that Hebrew word first shows up in Scripture. And really there, it's a reference to the one who will come, meaning the Messiah, the one that the Jewish people would hope for. Well, you and I know, if you're watching this and you're a believer in Jesus as I am, that Messiah was Yeshua. It was Jesus. And when you think about Jesus and about the way that things used to be done in the tent of meeting or later in the temple, and we have the Temple Mount right here behind me today, you think about all of the ways that the high priest would have to be so careful to come into the presence of God. Jesus came and he changed all of that. Because of Jesus coming to earth, because of the fact that he lived here and he understands how we live, he understands how we're tempted, he knows who we are. Because Jesus came and lived like a man and eventually gave his life so that we could have forgiveness of sins and eternal life, he also allowed for us to have access into the very presence of God. The book of Hebrews talks about the fact that we have a high priest who is like those other high priests, but in this way he is different. He brings us directly into the presence of God. Because of what Jesus has done, we can come boldly to the throne of grace, and there we can find grace and help in our time of need. I think that's amazing. And as we stood on the site where the tent of meeting stood, with our backs to the fence, and over that fence would have been where the Holy of Holies was, it was kind of a surreal experience for me. It was amazing to think that the tent of meeting, the tabernacle, had stood in that very place for 369 years. It was amazing for me to think that that was where the high priest would go into the Holy of Holies in order to sprinkle the blood for the sins of the people. But it was also overwhelming for me to think, wow, we don't have to do that anymore. Because of what Jesus has done for us, because of salvation, because of his sacrifice on the cross, we now go freely in and out of the presence of God. And God's presence is wherever we are. We can experience it right in this moment, right where you're sitting. You can know that because of what Jesus has done, you have access into the very Holy of Holies. It's been great to have you on the show today. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on First Century Foundations.
Thank you for watching. To learn more about this program and the ministries in Israel that we help, or to receive the Israel Prayer Watch, call the number on the screen or visit us online at firstcenturyfoundations.com. And to keep up to date on all that we're doing, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Join Jeff Feuders again in Israel next week on First Century Foundations.